Welcome to Psychic Bent. My name is Carrie.
And I'm Kim. We are two sisters wanting to help other psychics learn and grow in their abilities and to help educate about spirits, angels, and everything psychic. Hi everyone, welcome back to Psychic Bent. Today we are very excited to go over this topic that we're going to discuss. It's called our spirit animals because I think that Carrie and I have had quite a history of being talked to, yelled at, forced into facing our spirit animals because sometimes we just need a good swift kick in the pants because we're not listening any other way. Would you agree with that, Carrie?
Yeah, that free will gets us every time.
It does.
Yes. Yeah.
So today we will be discussing...
One day.
Yeah. One day what? You listen?
Yes.
I can't make that promise, so... So we're going to be discussing spirit animals and pretty much how they can help you and how they affect your lives. So Carrie, why don't you go ahead and start us off with spirit animals?
All right. Well, first of all, what is a spirit animal? In some indigenous traditions, spirit animals are an embodied form of a spirit guide, which we spoke about in the prior episode. They present themselves to us in whatever way we are willing to see them. And you may connect with yours through the face of a familiar animal. You may also feel connected to a power animal, or you could feel close to many members of the animal kingdom. Your animal guides hold a particular quality that could help navigate life with a bit of ease, faith, and confidence. If you're not sure what animal best represents you or what messages it's trying to send you, we're going to go over some resources to help you kind of figure that out. What I would like to point out, though, is if you're going to go into this spirit animal dive, be respectful of indigenous people's beliefs and their culture, and just be mindful not to. You need to find your own way. A lot of people will, if you're not indigenous and you're researching spirit animals and you're looking at what it is for what it means for Native American, and you're not Native American, well, that's really not going to work for you. You need to divorce that from the spirit animals, and you need to figure out what yours are. Spirit animals have been a long tradition with Native Americans. So just want to kind of point that out, that you need to find how this animal, once we figure out what your animal is or what animal is presenting itself to you, how it works for you. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. And I think that you do have to be respectful there. But I think that is true with the entire spiritual journey. You have to find your own way and what everything means to you. Not necessarily.
Yes, don't replicate their traditional animal imagery from totem poles and pictographs out of respect for the culture.
I totally agree.
Yeah, so I just wanted to throw that out there, that spirit animals, I mean, and if you feel what your path is, do your path. Do you? But just be mindful.
Right.
Okay, so there's several different ways that you should do when you are trying to figure out your spirit animal. Now, Kim and I have been discussing spirit animals probably a decade, because one way a spirit animal can come to you is in your dreams.
Yes, definitely.
And that's the easiest way for them to come to you, because when you're asleep, you're more receptive to getting a message versus during the daytime when life's happening and you're busy and you're not being mindful, which life happens, and that's very easy to do. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I do agree completely. Yeah. I get a lot of mine through my dreams anyway, but that's true with everything.
Well, yes. Let's say that you live in the city, let's just say the Midwest, and your spirit animal is a tiger. Well, you know what? You're not going to see a tiger in everyday life, but you'll see tigers in images. You'll see tigers in your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So in your dreams, you want to, with the dream journaling we've talked about before, you want to write down any particular animals that keep showing up in your dreams.
Right.
And kind of what that animal is doing.
And what you are doing when that animal appears
Exactly.
in your dream. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so then, of course, you're going to write it down in your journal.
Write it.
It's that darn journal thing again. You also want to think about your favorite animal growing up, a beloved pet, or just a wild animal that you always crossed paths when you were younger, because when you were younger, you were open.
Mm-hmm.
You hadn't, as a young child, you hadn't quite shut everything down yet. So, I mean, you want to think about those past connections because that's very important because you were open and approachable. But I've said it time and again, cat. I've always had a cat. By the time I came along in the family, we no longer had a dog.
Yes.
So I didn't have a dog growing up. I was never drawn to a dog, but cats loved me. So I was drawn to cat. Do you remember, Kim, growing up, what animal you were drawn to?
Well, this is kind of a funny story because I didn't realize it at the time, and I do now, but I was always being buzzed by hummingbirds and didn't realize that's what was buzzing me. So, hummingbirds is something that I have always been drawn to.
Well, there you go. So that's one way to try to connect and figure out spirit animals. So we've got the dreams, we've got dive into past connections with certain animals. I know people that were big whale fans and things like that, as children growing up, and that would be your spirit animal. And now you can also meditate. There's guided meditation for any kind of spiritual development, whether you want to meet your spirit guides, whether you want to meet your spirit animal, you want to do the Akashic record for past life regression. You could find very good meditations. They don't have to be long. It could be a 5-minute meditation. It could be a 15, 30-minute meditation. It's kind of what you're familiar with. And you're probably going to have to use that guided meditation more than one time. Because if you're not used to doing guided meditations, you kind of overthink the first couple times.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least I do.
Yeah, definitely.
Where we're going with this, where they're going to say, I'm not quite there yet. But you want to just basically get the meditation queued up, set your intention on what you want to do, get your intuition open, and ask yourself, if this animal were my guardian, what lessons would it try to teach me about my personal power and strength? And just spend a few minutes journaling after you've meditated. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
If the animal shows himself to you in that meditation, then when you're done, you're going to write it down, and then you're going to ask those questions. What is this animal trying to teach me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I firmly believe that, if that animal shows up, first thing I'm doing is on Google, spirit meaning for, this animal. And then I'm going to read through and see what resonates. And then I'm going to be like, okay, well, if this animal's my guardian, what lessons can it teach me? That's where I'm going to look to see what is going on in my life that it's wanting to teach me at this stage. And you have one spirit animal that's with you always, and then you have others, just like your spirit guides, that come and go, depending on what is necessary in your life. Would you like to add to that?
Well, I also think that they're also there for protection as well. Did you mention protection?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Because
I did not.
Okay. Because there are times whenever in your dreams or in real life or in just everyday things or you're thinking, whatever, you need protection from things that might be invading your space, your mindset and everything. And I think a lot of times that those spirit animals also come to protect you from others and from your mental thoughts that may be happening. And always in my dreams, that's how my spirit animals come to me. A lot of it is a protection type thing, protecting me from my negative thoughts that may be happening and stuff like that. So that's also how they could show up. And you want to write that down whenever they do pop in, what it is that you have going on in your life.
I know I've told this story before in the podcast, but I was dreaming and Mom was walking around this lake and being followed by a bear. Bears definitely was her spirit animal.
Definitely.
But she was always being followed by a bear. Yeah, and I'm trying to yell to her, hey, you got a bear. When I turn and look, and there's a person that I had met in real life laying on the ground watching me in my dream. So this person invaded my dream.
Right.
I was very shocked, but then I had a mountain lion come around and go to charge him and go to attack him, and he disappeared. The mountain lion was pouncing, and before the mountain lion got him, he is gone. So that mountain lion, which is a cat, obviously, was protecting me from this person who invaded my dream.
Right.
And I do believe people can't do that. He didn't like me after that. I don't think he liked me too much beforehand, but he really did like me after that. He called me a couple things. but that's all
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Not like I cared. And then I had another situation while I was at work doing a different job that I do now at work. And I had a very toxic person that worked there that would sometimes act as a supervisor. And he was horrible, horrible energy. He was just not a nice person. Didn't take, he was just, we clashed a lot. He didn't like me, and he would take every opportunity to pick on me. Obviously, his vibration was not anywhere near as mine, and he had trouble with my vibration.
Mm-hmm.
It was getting very stressful having to go and work with this person. And I had asked for protection because I wanted him to leave me alone. And I had a Black Panther show up. Now, no one else could see the Black Panther. I could see him. But he would sit at my feet, the panther, and just wherever he was, the panther was facing. So that panther, in my mind, was very real, and he was keeping that person away from me and was protecting me. I set that intention. I needed that something to protect me. So I would know every time he got close, the panther would show up.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So the panther would show up and sit at his spot before that person even came through the door.
Yep.
And then, of course, Spirit removed me from that position into another position, a better position, but also removed me from that negativity, which I was very grateful for. Very grateful. But that was another situation of protection.
Right. Right. Now, with mine that I've had is deer are I consider my protective spirit animal, because whenever I'm having some really serious, scary dreams happening, I always end up, I'm being chased by something, I end up turning a corner, and then I am actually in a field surrounded by woods, and there's just herds of deer around, and it immediately calms me from the stress and chaos of the dream that I had been having. They bring me peace whenever they're in my dream.
And deer also represent intuition, too.
Yes.
So they probably communicate with you when you see them through your intuition.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, another way you can figure out your spirit animal is take a quiz. Now, I don't like to take quizzes like this, only because I'm an overthinker, and I have to overthink my answer. Like, well, you have to select one and select an answer, and I'm like, okay, well, for me, the quizzes don't work. It doesn't matter what quiz it is. I'm going to overthink my answers, and I did take a quiz, and it told me my spirit animal was a turtle.
No.
The only encounter with a turtle was Grandma had a turtle when I was little growing up, but I'm like,
Yeah.
not too sure. But if you're good at answering questions honestly in a quiz, which is hard,
Well,
then
I don't know that for this type of thing, I don't know that I would go with a quiz, because, like you said, you would have to meditate and really get into a special mindset to take the quiz, I would think, before that would even be valid. You know what I mean?
right, yes.
It's just,
Yeah. I mean, any quiz that's multiple choice,
mm-hmm.
I mean, the empath quiz I thought was an easy quiz for me to take, but I still overthought my answers.
Yeah, I agree.
Kind
Yeah.
of like,
Mm-hmm.
what do I feel that way? How do I really feel? It's just like, just take the quiz, but I can't do it. I can't.
Yeah, I get it.
So I get all, yeah.
I just don't know how valid or effective the quiz would be. I just don't know.
Well, a quiz has no emotion to it, too. I don't know.
I just,
Now everyone knows our views on quizzes.
right, searching within is the best quiz to take. I'm just saying.
Yes. But a lot of people do like to do those quizzes.
Yeah.
If that's your thing, knock yourself out. And maybe people that don't overthink like I do and can take those quizzes and can come up with some good results. But I do think if you're going to take the quiz, you do need to meditate beforehand, like you said, and just kind of get yourself in that spot where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've identified your spirit animal, you can start to listen to it. Animals often emanate certain traits and strengths that can be used more in our own lives. For example, let's say a crow. You may benefit from channeling the tenacious hunter's energy it presents. It just depends on, like we said earlier, what meaning that crow has for you. A crow is yours. One way to remind yourself of the qualities of your animal with a physical representation of your guide, be it a photograph, statue, or painting that you love or cherish. Usually your spirit animal you get a good picture of what your animal is, and kind of have it where it's a spot you can look at daily and just kind of remind you of the qualities. You could also go onto Pinterest and put the animal in, spirit animal in it. You could print out what the key points are for that animal that resonate with you or make your own. I think that's very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you interact in real life with your spirit animal, like we spoke about earlier, this could be a photo. You could have some random person talk about your spirit animal, like, bring up a story about a cat. For me, that would be like, oh, a cat, okay. And that will kind of be a little thing to help you remember what the unique qualities of your spirit animal. You could be at work and the screensaver pops up your spirit animal. Well, maybe something's going on right there in your life that you're kind of not remembering the qualities of your spirit animal that's supposed to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of spirit's way of saying, hello, remember, get back on track.
There they are, teaching us again.
But I saw a meme on Facebook that said, I don't know my spirit animal, but I'm pretty sure it's rabbit. I just thought that was funny. It's got rabies.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. So, once you start, that's just like anything. Once you start to get your psychic hits and you identify them as that, you get more.
Oh, yeah.
When you start to communicate with your spirit guide, you get more interaction. So as you start to figure out, meditate, find what your spirit animal is, and delve into the qualities and such, then you're going to communicate more with them as well.
That's true. Now, do you ever get just a flash in your mind's eye of an animal whenever you're in the middle of doing something? Just a quick psychic download? Because that happens to me.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be driving down the road and it's a snapshot.
Right, yeah, that's it. That's a good description.
It's like someone took a photo.
Good description there, yeah.
Yeah.
I have that happen.
Yes, and it's not always my spirit animal. It's because, like we said, you have different animals that pop in. And the more that you dive into your spirit animal and the qualities, you're going to see different things that pop in. When the animal interacts with you in like real life, its behavior is doing something out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you see a squirrel doesn't mean a squirrel's your spirit guide. But the squirrel does something unusual to get your attention, then you should take a look at that squirrel.
I have an example of that.
I was several mornings in a...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No,
Of a squirrel? Of a squirrel?
Yes.
Or
of a squirrel.
Okay. Well, of a squirrel. Okay. Well, I got to hear it now.
This is a prime example. All right. So we live out on a farm. We've got trees. Squirrels are always in our yard, yelling, screaming, whatever they're doing, being squirrels. And this happened a couple of days in a row. I was sitting at the kitchen table working on, I was crocheting, I believe is what I was doing at that point in time. And something told me to look outside. And I kept hearing a little strange noise. I'm like, what is happening? Okay, I'm going to look. And there is a squirrel that is at the sliding glass doors to our kitchen, looking up at me, scratching on the window. And I'm looking like, what are you doing? And it just looked at me, scratched again, and ran away. And I was like, well, okay. So it happened the next 2 days where that squirrel, I'm assuming it's the same squirrel, but it was a squirrel, would come to that door, scratch, get my attention, and then run away. The third time it actually had a nut in its mouth. So I thought, that is the strangest thing. I've got a squirrel coming up to the door. And one time the cat was there too, looking at the squirrel. The cat was on my side of the glass. So that is definitely odd behavior of a squirrel.
Did you research the squirrel?
I did research the squirrel, and it was telling me to quit taking things so seriously, to relax.
Oh, left brain. Okay, left brain.
Left brain, relax. Because I know I was deep in crocheting trying to get something done, I'm sure. But yeah, told me you need to take a break. Just enjoy this for a little bit. So that's what I did. Took a break, enjoyed life for a bit. What is your squirrel?
Very good. I don't have a squirrel.
Oh!
You must have been thinking squirrel because squirrel popped into my head when I was giving the example. Mine was more of, like, happened several mornings in a row going to work. There's just a deer on the side of the road just looking at me, like making eye contact, looking at me, which mostly the time the deer run away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it just stood there. So that was, to me, a message. And, of course, I had to look up deer. And, of course, what resonated with me was the whole intuition thing, that I needed to continue my intuition work and be more confident.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
With that. Yeah. So when the animal interacts unusually, or pictures keep popping up of the same animal, like we talked about, that's a signal to you. And when usual things. Now, I have to share this with listeners, and I don't know if Kim wants me to or not, but I'm going to.
Uh-oh.
Kim has the record. Kim has the record of being pooped on by birds.
Oh, yes.
So I'm not sure what kind of bird is doing it, but tell the listeners about bird pooping experiences.
Oh, there's so many. Oh, my goodness. And I know it's not just the same type of bird because of the size of poop splats that have hit me. So, but
she had one bird that circled around to come back and get her.
Oh, my goodness, yes. So this has happened since I was a child. I have been pooped on all over the world. Got pooped on in Australia, got pooped on in New Zealand, Italy, everywhere. I don't understand it, but I did have one that I was getting something out of the trunk of the car. My husband witnessed this. He says it was the weirdest thing. He saw this bird circling around me. I had just showered, clean, wet hair, everything, and this bird circled and dropped one smack dab on the top of my head. It was like, oh, really? So I had to go in and re-shower, and I have been...
So what kind of bird was that?
That one was a swallow. That one was a swallow.
Okay.
Yep. You know how well, you may not know, but they fly around, and that's how they eat the bugs, the insects that are in the air. So I've gotten it.
Evidently, they also do target practice.
They do target practice, yeah. I've had one. We were walking on a house tour whenever we were younger, because our house was in a historical landmark, and we would take those tours every year in our town, and walking along, and lands one right on my shoulder. Don't know what kind of bird that was. I had a big splat on my back on a jacket one day. I do go outside with a hat on most times, just in case.
You mean you don't use an umbrella?
Yeah, I may need one, but I was dive bombed, I think, by a goose, because it was a pretty big splat that hit the ground right next to me and got up on me. So yeah, it's been a thing.
So what do you think that means spiritually?
'Cause
that's weird. I'm telling you, that's weird.
Yeah, because there's people that tell me that they've never been pooped on at all, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is this is my life experience.
It happened to me once on a date that didn't go well, so I think it was some sort of meaning there.
Yeah, that is definitely a meaning there. I don't know exactly what that could mean. Some people say it's good luck. I do question that at times.
I'm not sure why it would be good luck.
I don't either, but, because what are the odds? No, they're aiming.
Well, obviously, it's trying to get your attention.
Right.
Because they got your attention.
Oh, yeah, definitely got my attention, that's for sure.
So maybe you weren't listening to your spirit animals or your guides and they're just saying, listen,
Yeah.
or stop what you're doing and listen.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I haven't really stopped to think of what was happening at that time. Because when it happens, you're upset. Why did I just get pooped on? You know what I mean? It's not, what could that mean? What was I thinking when it happened? I mean, it's just been I'm sure it's something to get my attention. Because you know me, I have to have that board hitting me in the head to get my attention
Or
sometimes.
poop.
Apparently, poop is another one of them. I'm sure there's a
Oh,
spiritual
well,
meaning to it.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
I'll have to research that
Yeah.
one.
But I had to bring it up because we're talking about animals that do unusual actions
Yes.
or show themselves a lot. And you do, that's unusual. That's unusual. So,
Yeah, and it's not like I'm outside.
I wouldn't brag about it,
Right.
but yeah.
It's not like I'm outside 18 hours a day or anything. It's just they're flybys and they get me every time. It's like they're aiming, especially whenever they circle and people witness it.
Yeah.
So,
So you need to research that. Has it happened recently?
I would say about a year, maybe two ago, a year or two ago that it happened the last time. Yeah, about 2 years ago.
Maybe you made the appropriate changes in your spiritual development.
Oh, that could be. That could be. I learned my lesson or whatever it is they were trying to do. You know?
You have to research the spiritual meaning of bird poop and
Yeah.
see what you find.
Yeah.
Let us know.
I'm going to have to do that, yeah.
Now, I thought we could just talk about some of the common animals and just a little bit about them, just like their core qualities. Because, I mean, when you go to research a spirit animal, it's a lot of paragraphs because you got to find what resonates to you. So just because I mentioned this, there's more to it. So, like a bear is deeply emotional and feels a connection to the earth and the outdoors. Now, a bear showing up in your dreams could also be referencing something that you need to grin and bear it type situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's so many different meanings for bear, and that's where journaling comes in handy. So if you're dreaming about a bear, you need to write down everything you can remember from the dream that concerns this bear. Because you can have it, like we said, other animals pop in to help you with what you need at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I've had other animals pop in that weren't cats, like the deer, and I've had different ones. I've had a bear a couple times, and it kind of went along with what was going on in my life.
Right.
Like I've dreamed of bears in the house. They're not destroying anything. They're just wanting to get in. They get in, they walk around, and I'm trying to get them out. And I mean, that's telling you got to look up house. What does the house mean in the dream? What colors are in the dream? And they're usually black and white for me. And then, of course, the bear. And so a lot of times it's also helping you work through a situation, which we're going to go in more depth to that when we do our dream series.
Mm-hmm. And they also have, like the bear, they have a positive and a negative symbolisms for people. For instance, like the bear
Yes.
signifies strength and positivity or confidence, power. They're very protective. They're courageous. They definitely have a motherly love and care about them because they take such good care of their babies. These are different symbolisms that are positive for the bear. And also, the bear is very grounding. And then some of the negative things, or which you could be experiencing as to why you're seeing the bear, would be they're very aggressive, territorial, they could be unreliable, and instability in relationships, their overwhelming presence of emotions, being slow to change or adapt, and then fear, of course. You may be experiencing some of those things as to why you're seeing a bear.
Exactly. I have butterfly. That is really a symbolism of transformation and development, obviously, because a butterfly is the key for that. It is incredibly adaptable and approaches all changes with ease and grace. Do you have anything for butterfly?
No, I didn't look up anything for butterfly.
Okay. Cat. The cat often symbolizes curiosity, adventure, and independence. It also masters the art of patience.
Masters the art of patience.
Yes. Well, when a cat's hunting, it sits very still before it starts to wiggle its little bottom and charge at the mouse or whatever it's wanting to eat. Are you
Yes.
implying that I'm not patient?
Sometimes.
Well, my spirit cat is. I am
Yeah.
independent,
Yes, you are.
and I do
Yes,
have
you are.
curiosity. Yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah, you've got courage and you do have a good spirit sense of adventure as well. So, yeah, I could see that.
yeah.
And
I'm
then,
patient on occasion. I'm not
uh,
perfect. I,
that's funny.
uh, yeah, I,
Yeah.
whatever. Deer's the next one.
Deer's the next one.
Yeah, deer is sensitive, highly intuitive spirit guide. It strikes a balance between confidence and success and gentleness and grace.
It does have the ability to move through life and obstacles, like you said, with grace. Sensitive, intuitive. They have the ability to regenerate and heal themselves. That being, they lose their antlers every season and then grow new. So that's how they can symbolize regenerating and healing. Now, some of the other things that might be a sign of deer or the shadow meaning of the deer is they're fearful, timid. Are these striking anything here? Feeling vulnerable and defenseless, being innocent to the point of being naive, oversensitive, emotional fragility, being led astray and deceived, lack of
What are you implying?
assertiveness. Does that
What are you
remind you of
implying?
anybody? Does that remind you of anybody?
No,
Like
no.
me?
Who's it supposed to? You? Oh, okay. I
Like
thought you were
me?
directing at me, and I'm like going,
No,
no,
no.
no. You get led
I'm,
astray easily.
I can be, yeah.
Yeah. I also think that deer can represent diet. You're not eating enough healthy stuff because they eat the vegetarians. They eat
Hmm.
vegetable greenery and stuff, and perhaps you need to add more vegetables to your diet.
Okay.
It
I'm
just
just
kind of
saying
depends on
that,
how you look at it.
yeah. I'm just saying that shows why the deer might be my spirit animal because I do relate to the positive and the negative or the good and the need to work on sides of a deer and what it represents and such. Just throwing that out
Okay.
there.
All right. The next one I have is dove. The dove represents peace, blessings, and new beginnings. It is a hopeful and optimistic animal. And then I have dolphin. The dolphin represents playfulness and wisdom. It is a master communicator and unifier.
Some of the symbolisms with the dolphin is, like you said, peace and harmony, protection, playfulness and joy, because they do a lot of that, inner strength, cooperation, because they work together well as a family, as a group. Definitely the inner strength is very important with a dolphin.
Yes. I've never had a dolphin visit in my dreams. Evidently, the dolphin doesn't talk to me yet. the next time I, the next I have is elephant. The elephant symbolizes wisdom, gentleness, and spiritual understanding.
It also symbolizes longevity because they do live a long life. They have a very maternal instinct. They can also represent stability in our lives. And they remind us that life could be like a circus. Sometimes it's crazy, but it's definitely full of wonder.
Next I have is frog. The frog is often thought to help heal physical and emotional wounds. This animal speaks to the importance of checking in on with oneself and healing from the past in order to live in the present. Now, I had a tree frog several nights in a row. This was a couple months ago. Somewhere around my window, and the tree frog would start singing right when I would get into bed. And I don't know if you've ever
Hmm.
heard a tree frog. They're loud. I could never, and I couldn't find him. I looked for him.
Hmm.
I was going to relocate him uh, out in the
Yeah.
yard, but for what I was going through at the time, there were some emotional wounds that I was trying to deal with and heal. So it made perfect sense. Now, did I look up what the frog meant? I should have, but I didn't because I just wanted him to stop so I could go to sleep.
Yeah, definitely you had some clearing of negativity and toxic energies that you probably should have taken care of at that point in time.
Yes, and I was working on it, but obviously
Yes, you were.
not fast enough for the frog.
Right, right. The frog can also represent renewal, rebirth, transformation, metamorphosis. We all need to go through a type of metamorphosis in our lives. And they also represent some life mysteries and ancient wisdom. So maybe the frog was trying to impart some of that into your life as well.
Anything else for frog?
Oh, no, I think that's ribbit, all I got.
Ribbit? Okay. Um, Next is fox. The fox is the guide of camouflage. It has mastered the art of detachment and growing with surroundings.
It is also a trickster. Just saying. But it can also turn into a teacher, providing us guidance and way to swiftly find your way around obstacles because they are very quick. They're very cunning and they can see deception. So they're really
Yes.
good at discerning when something is going to happen and such. So they provide you with the ability to find your way around and to swiftly detect the trickster and get out of that situation.
Yes. And of course, we had a pair of foxes, and foxes do mate for life. So when they lose their mate, they don't take on another mate. But we had a pregnant fox that was going to have her babies, and Kim was visiting with her husband, and Kim and I were sitting on the porch in the rockers just
Mm.
talking, and here came Mama Fox right into the yard and just stood there and looked at us. It was pretty cool, but that was unusual activity
Yeah.
because it's a wild animal. It's not a pet. It's a wild animal.
Yeah. It just looked right at us. It was, you
And we
felt
were,
this
yeah,
connection. We
yeah,
we were
it was,
talking
it,
and
yeah, we weren't being quiet. We were just talking, and then I was like, oh, okay. Now what?
I would say it was like 6 feet away,
Yes,
7 feet away,
yes.
something like that. It was wow, you know.
And then she ran off,
And then she went off. Yeah,
and we went in the house. So like, maybe we should go. So,
right.
but it was a pretty cool thing. It happened to both of us.
Hmm.
It was pretty cool, and obviously the fox was there for either both of us or one of us.
Right.
But I was working on detachment, cord cutting, things like that.
Hmm.
I don't know what you were working on at the time, so how that plays for you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think at that point in time, I was just so surprised about the encounter that that's what happens to me a lot. I just get so surprised by the encounter. I don't stop to think about what could this mean, you know?
Yes. Well, it was amazing
Hmm.
when it
Right.
happened. And she had four pups, but that's a side note.
Yeah.
She brought them around. But that's something that was a very unusual interaction we had with the fox. We had it together. It was really kind of fun. The next one I have is horse. Now, the horse is the guide of passion and drive. It's incredibly productive and goal oriented.
Now, the horse represents a driving force, what you thrive for or carries you through life. It is also balance between instinctive and tamed parts of your personality. Sexual energy, especially but not limited to masculine energy. And then there's strong emotions and passionate desire with horses. So the horse spirit animals, they're likely to represent your inner strength and driving force in life. Depending on what the spirit animal means to you, it could symbolize your ability to overcome obstacles and pursue your goals, no matter what may stand in your way, because horses are extremely powerful.
I've never had a horse visit. I mean, I've visited horses at your house, but I've never had a horse visit. And I've ridden horses, like trail rides and things like that, but I'm allergic to them now, evidently. But I've always found them to be beautiful
Hmm.
creatures. They just never speak to me.
Yeah, I've
They're not for me.
never had a spirit horse visit me as well. I never have.
Yep. All right, well, hawk is my next one. And the hawk represents perspective and the ability to see things from all sides. It is an extremely compassionate and empathetic animal.
Now, a hawk is also a messenger of the spirit world. They have a good extreme ability to focus because, they're flying around and looking for their prey, and they dive down and get their prey. You can take the lead when the time is right. They have clear vision. They also represent a strong connection with spirit and increased spiritual awareness.
Now, I have a lot of hawk encounters. And of course, I live in the mountains. We have hawks. But I have encounters where I was outside doing something and went to sit down and rest. I think I was working in the flower garden. And something made me look in the tree, and there's this hawk looking at me. And then he swoops down and leaves. I'll be driving down my driveway, and he's in front of me, going back and forth, just kind of flying, and then just takes off.
Wow.
So he's shown himself many, many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been thinking about getting a tattoo, and I really like mountain lions, and that I was going to do a mountain lion tattoo. And so I'm driving down the road, and I'm thinking about this, and then Spirit says, cougar. And I went, oh, I don't want to put a cougar on me. People might think I'm a cougar. And it was funny how it said it. It was just kind of like, cougar. I'm like, oh, no, because a mountain lion is a cougar. They're the same thing. And so I'm like, oh, I'm not going to put a cougar on me. And then a hawk came out of nowhere and did its little, soaring thing in front of my vehicle. And I went,
Right.
oh, I'm supposed to get a hawk. I'm supposed to
Yeah.
get a hawk. And I got yes. And I'm like going, oh my gosh, I almost permanently tagged myself as a cougar. Oh no. I thought that was funny.
That is funny.
Again, my spirit guide gets me.
Yeah, especially with all of your psychic abilities and the visions that you have. Your clairvoyance is strong and everything. That's what a hawk represents, is that
Yeah.
clear vision, and that makes sense that you would go with the hawk.
Yeah. My next one is lion. Now, lion represents heart and courage. It's a natural born leader and a deep sense of authority.
Now, it can also symbolize strength, assertiveness, and personal power. A common meaning for the lion spirit animal is predatory feelings such as anger, aggression, directed at someone else or towards you. A personal struggle to deal with feelings, and a lion spirit animal can warn about a threatening situation or event in your life.
So if you see one or keep seeing pictures of one they keep showing themselves or a commercial on TV, you need to write it down and start researching.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a biggie on that one.
Yeah.
If you're in danger or something.
Or it could be just a symbol or a sighting or something to give you courage to face something that you might not be ready to face or have the strength to face.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a symbol of just giving you that courage that you need, that little extra push to help you through something.
Yep, exactly. Okay, I have mouse. And the mouse represents the importance of details and security. It reminds us not to overlook the smaller stuff in life. A funny story. This is about the time that I was moving out of the house and relocating because of the divorce. And a friend of mine stopped by, and we were talking in the driveway, and this little mouse just ran out from underneath my vehicle.
Oh.
And she's like, oh my gosh, there's a mouse. And I'm like, looked, and he just kind of looked at us, and he just was just looking for food. He's just doing his thing. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know if the mouse was for me or for her, but he showed himself several times after she left. So I'm thinking, okay, must have been for me. But importance to details. That's very important.
Yeah. Yeah.
With what was going on in my life at the time. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So next is Kim's owl. Owls have the ability to see what others miss. They know the deeper meaning of things and discover the hidden treasures of life. But there's more.
But there's more?
Tell us. Yeah, you have more on owl.
Well, they again, as with the hawk, they have that clear vision and insight, and they can give us guidance into the unknown. their connection to mystery and magical aspects of life. But, an owl can also represent a radical transition, something totally different about to happen in your life. It could also be ominous endings, over intellectuality, meaning too much left braininess there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why
Isolation.
that owl was
Yeah,
visiting you.
exactly. Here's another one, a lack of sense of humor. Yeah, sometimes I am lacking that
You
in my life.
you are not lacking sense of humor.
Well, I take it as I need to laugh about things more and situations more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, I find humor in almost anything, and the yin and the yang of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can find humor in many things. It's just that I need to take the time to do that instead of
Yes,
focusing on the situation as a negative. It's telling me to lighten up, more or less, is how I take that. But yeah, they are fascinating animals, I tell you.
yes, they are. They also have great sight because in the dark they can see.
Yeah, yeah.
So they do kind of remind you of maybe using your third eye more and see what's really there.
A lot of traditions have it as a symbolism for death, but
Yes,
not necessarily the true sense of death. It could mean the end of this era in your life for this new era, or it could be the ending of a situation you've been living through, dealing with, and now it's a new change coming, a new way of doing things is coming.
it's very much for the Cherokee, an owl is bad luck and
Oh,
does represent death. That's how the Cherokee view it. Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah.
Hmm.
I'm sure other tribes do as well, but you know,
Hmm.
yeah, they definitely feel it's bad luck. But you're not Cherokee, so that's okay.
That's true.
Yeah. Now my next one is peacock, and the peacock represents resurrection and reinvention. It knows it's never too late to change course. I've never really had a thing with a peacock. What about you?
No, not dream wise or anything. You go to a zoo and you hear it cawing in the distance or whatever it's called, but which is a strange call in itself. They are a beautiful animal.
Yes, they are.
You learn lessons about yourself when a peacock is there. It's self love, honor, integrity. The importance of facing life's challenges is what a peacock can also represent. Courage and confidence, because look, they're already always strutting their stuff. So,
Well, if I had beautiful feathers like that, I would be showing them off too.
oh, yeah, definitely. Me too.
Next on my list is the turtle. The turtle is a highly spiritual animal that represents the journey towards wisdom, truth, understanding, and peace. And according to the quiz, that's my guy.
Some symbolisms of the turtle is its association with the earth, groundedness and patience, slowing down, pacing yourself, the ability to stay grounded even in moments of disturbances and chaos, determination and persistence. Yeah, I'm saying you've got some of this stuff too, though. Emotional strength and understanding, and they also have ancient wisdom.
So maybe the quiz was right. I don't know.
No,
I do. I had. I'm like, no. You lost me at wisdom.
yeah, I was going to say you can find a little bit of yourself in every single spirit animal.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
So,
That's why it's important to write it down and see what resonates with you
right.
at that time in your life. Look at it honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
So my next one is tiger. And the tiger represents raw feelings and emotions. It's highly intuitive and great at following its instincts.
The primary meaning of the tiger spirit animal is willpower, personal strength, and courage. And then a shadow or part of you that you would normally try to hide or reject. You kind of hide part of yourself. I think we all do that, though. We don't let everybody see the
Yeah.
whole thing. Aggression or anger directed at you or felt towards someone, and unpredictability in life, action, and feelings. So those are some of the things that seeing a tiger could symbolize.
Now, my last one I have is wolf. The wolf is connected to intelligence, instincts, and freedom. It follows primal instincts above all else. Do you have anything for wolf?
Some of the symbolisms is sharp intelligence, deep connection with instincts, appetite for freedom, courage and resilience, of course, wisdom, insight, inner wisdom, community and connection, determination. There are some negative symbolisms with this spirit animal that could be isolation, greed and selfishness, dishonesty or deception, feeling threatened, lack of trust in someone or in yourself, and also dominance and control. So those are some of the other things that could be symbolized by seeing or interacting with the wolf spirit animal.
Perfect. Well, there's so many more animals, obviously, lots of animals.
Yeah.
Again, want to just reiterate that, if the animal's behaving oddly or unusual, or you just keep seeing it everywhere, then that's a time to stop and think, okay, what's going on in my life? What does this mean? Get your journal out if it's available and write down what were you thinking when it showed up. Or It's hard to do that one because it keeps showing up repeatedly. You may not be thinking the same thing, but what's going on in your life seems to be the issue. What does the spirit animal mean? What is it supposed to mean towards me? And you jump down that rabbit hole and see what it'll jump out at you when you find it, what the meaning is. Do you have anything more with that, Kim, you'd like to add?
I personally have a frequent encounter in my dreams. This may be for the dream episode, and I can't find anything spiritual on this one for its meaning, is I have encounters with the Tyrannosaurus Rex all the time. And I'm really not certain what that might be, if that is a spirit animal or not.
Do you feel like you have short arms?
I do feel like I have short arms. So I always say my Tyrannosaurus arms can't reach things because I'm so short. But
sorry.
So what I'm saying is,
couldn't resist.
Sometimes you may have to take a deeper dive into what your animal encounter could be. I cannot find spiritual meanings for this Tyrannosaurus Rex. That could be just a dream symbolism there for something else. But just keep an open mind, do your research, and try to find out what resonates, what hits you best on whenever, or strikes you. Or take your time and research and just see what feels best whenever you're doing your research on these spirit animals, because it could be anything.
And I think it's, this is a very important part of your spiritual growth, is identifying your spirit guides, identifying your spirit animals. It's helpful with your psychic abilities. The different ways spirit can communicate with you, the more you're going to grow. Does that make sense? That was hard to get out.
Yeah, that does make sense. It's just whatever feels right for you. That's all I'm trying to say. That was hard to get out for me too, so.
Well, I just keep getting growth in my head. So I'm supposed to mention it helps you with your growth spiritually. It could also help you mentally, help you deal with something that, like if you're going through a tough time and you have a particular animal that just keeps showing up, that animal's giving you support in some way and fashion. And that's whether it's telling you to just stop and smell the roses, so to speak, or to do some spiritual work, like you need to go meditate. You're not focused, you're not grounded. So it's kind of like you have to be open to figuring out, what's this animal trying to tell me? And I think meditating and asking your guides to help you with that also help you find your spirit animal. And like I said, you have animals that enter your life whenever you need something. They're drawing your attention to them for a reason, and then just figure out what that reason is. It's really funny when you have those dreams or the animal keeps doing something unusual, and you look it up and you're like, well, yep, that's right on target.
As long as you recognize that that's what's happening to you.
Being mindful is, you should be staying mindful because it keeps you grounded.
Right.
And it keeps anxiety away. Be present, be mindful. That keeps those negative conversations with yourself, Kim, from happening.
Right.
Yeah, calling you out.
Yeah. They're always providing us with teaching moments.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's what we have to be open to learn.
Now, I'm not sure how pooping on you is a teaching moment, but,
Well, it was a very teaching moment because I have learned not to look up at the sky and to keep my head covered.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that's sad. But the spirit animals, they're there to help, to teach, to comfort, to guide. We just need to pay attention and find out what it is that they are trying to help us with, or to take what that comfort and lessons that they are trying to show us and work on ourselves.
Yes. And just like with any of our spirit guides, that we have to, they're there to help us, but they have to be asked to help. So if you're going through a situation in your life, you can meditate and ask for a spirit animal to present itself to you, to show you what you need to work on. So if you're meditating and you see a T-Rex for Kim, you have to try to figure out what that's about. And if you can't find a symbolism, you Google it, you can't find it, then you have to look at the qualities of the animal.
Right. And what you were feeling at the time,
of course,
at seeing that animal too.
At the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're meditating and asking for your spirit animal to show itself,
mm-hmm.
kind of looking for your primary spirit animal too. So yeah. But a lot of stuff, when you're going into, like if you're going to meditate, you should be in a good place in your head to meditate, or you're wanting to achieve to get a good place in your head. Anytime you're having, difficulty, like bad self-talks, or it seems like everything's going wrong, it's a perfect time to just stop and meditate,
mm-hmm.
or be mindful, just be mindful of the now.
Right. And the final thing is to say thank you, to give thanks for those spirit animal moments.
Should always have a grateful heart. If you're having a grateful heart and you're saying thank you for everything, your vibration is up. There's a joke at work where we've got one person that asks for help and never says thank you. So it's like, but their vibration is not where my vibration is. And I'm not judging, it's just as what it is. They're negative, they're complaining a lot, and so they don't work from a grateful heart.
Right.
But the more the times that you say thank you and genuinely mean thank you, your vibration goes higher.
Right.
So anytime you get an animal guide or a spirit guide or anybody shows up for you, always say thank you. Always be grateful. Well, Kim, I think this wraps up this episode of Spirit Animals. What do you think?
I think so. I think there was a lot of information there. Just do your research, people. It's amazing what you find out there on spirit animals and what they could be saying to you and for you.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And Kim, you want to remind the listeners about our upcoming episode for Halloween?
Sure. So what we would like you to do is, if you would, is to please email us a story of ghosts or spooky legends or anything like that we could read on the episode that we're going to be making for Halloween. I have found some legends and spooky stories that we can do, but I would really like to have some from our listeners to also include in that. We won't mention your name unless you say we can. Primarily, it'll be just first name if we do. And you can send those stories to psychicbent1@gmail.com.
Perfect. Just please, no stories of the black-eyed children. That creeps me out. I can't handle that. I can't do the black-eyed children. Don't have that in there.
They're creepy.
I just can't. I just can't do that. So, okay. Yeah. So if anybody submits the black-eyed children, I'm sorry. I can't do that one. It's just too out there. It's too creepy. It's too scary for me. All right, listeners, thank you very much for listening, and bye.
Bye. May your light shine bright.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast, Psychic Bent. If you enjoyed Psychic Bent, please like, follow, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. We can be reached on Facebook at Psychic Bent Podcast. Our email address is psychicbent1@gmail.com. May your light shine bright.